Hello friends. So news is that US and Europe are about to sanction Rosneft and Lukoil, two largest oil refineries of Russia. And from these two oil refineries, India also purchases major share of its Russian oil. So what would be the implication on India? Now first of all, this is an unilateral sanction which US Europe, basically a coalition of G7 and the European Union is imposing sanction on Russia. India is principally against this unilateral sanction because India itself has faced similar unilateral sanction back in 1975 and 98 when it tested its first nuclear devices. But there isn't much India can do about it. In the past as well, India has stopped purchasing oil from Iran and Venezuela under the threat of US sanction. So India has to respond to the situation. It cannot react to the situation. On the US and Europe part, they basically wants to stop Russia using shadow fleet for its oil trade and to circumvent sanction and oil price cap. Which what is the shadow fleet? Basically, Russian oil companies fleet of tankers stopped using AIS, that is automatic identification system. So they go dark on sea. Basically, they cannot be traced. They cannot be tracked where their ships are going. They disguise ownership structure and origin and destination of oil as well. So basically, Russia makes it difficult for global watchdogs to trace its fleet of tankers and track them down and stop them from doing trade in a global market and stopping it from circumventing sanction imposed on it. Now, what would be India's response? First of all, government-owned enterprises has been looking ways to not directly purchase oil from Russian refineries and use some third-party companies to purchase oil from Russian companies. But this method will also not work for long, and India has to cut down their oil purchases. Private companies like Reliance Industries has already been cutting down major part of oil purchases. Along with it, Indian banks will also be refraining from financing such oil trade because then they will become target of secondary sanction of US and if Europe imposes secondary sanction, then of Europe as well. And along with it, in the given situation, the lucrative discount which India was having for past 3 years has been narrowing down. So there isn't much discount available for India from purchasing to continue purchasing Russian oil. And if we look at the trade-offs, as we know, US has already imposed 50% tariff on India, which is hurting small-scale traders of our country, or exporters of our country. And so if we look at the trade-off, then the loss which we'll be facing and the gain which we'll be having by purchasing Russian oil there will be a huge imbalance in the two, because we will be facing more loss and minor gain by continue purchasing Russian oil. So what India's position has been that we will be purchasing oil from wherever our economic interest will be satisfied. That interest is also narrowing down, and so it makes logical sense for India to curtail down its Russian oil purchases, which is what has also been communicated by Donald Trump in his own manner, the way he communicates. Now, at the same time, seamless replacement of Russian oil would be challenging. And India would be doing it by diversifying its oil import, not only from Middle East, but also from Africa, Latin America and North America. Along with it, oil prices are bound to rise. If India being the third largest consumer of oil, if India will turn away from Russian oil and come to the global market to purchase its oil needs, then demand will increase and supply will narrow down. So oil prices are bound to increase, which will exert inflationary pressure on our economy. So it will be on government as well as RBI to balance out those inflationary pressure. And how it will all turn out, we will have to wait and see.